Spencer, you sat down with AJ and had a few things to say about this radio station. And it was quite surprising for me, bearing in mind the amount of coverage that, in particular, this show with Jim and Simon gives to the sport of boxing, that he would be so critical about the way he feels we cover him.
Well, yeah, I feel that he feels that, you know, there's a lot of haters on the channel towards him in recent times. I think that's what he's referring to with the two losses to Alexander Usyk. Well, listen, I don't know names. He didn't mention names, so I can't really make. You know, he just said that people felt that he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. And I said, listen, what you got to understand, AJ, is that everybody's got an opinion. Everyone's got an opinion and they're entitled to that. So, you know, you should be feeding off that opinion. And if you feel that the public are turning against you or the media are turning against you, feed off it, use that and go and prove them wrong. You know, and he's got a great opportunity to do that now, going in with Dillian White on the 12th of August. Fair play to him for doing that, by the way, because that's a tricky fight. That's probably out of all the heavyweight fights that are going on right now in the build-up to this, all roads leading to Saudi, this is probably the most difficult one, because these two guys have got a history going back to 2009 when AJ lost to Dillian White in the amateurs, then 2015 for the British and Commonwealth titles, you know, and he was in another thriller there as well and rocked to the sole of his boots in the second round. So I think, yeah, what he was referring to with that is just that the criticism that he's taken in recent times against Alexander Usyk, and people saying that is AJ not the AJ of old. Well, he's got the chance to prove it here on August the 12th against Dillian White, because one thing's for sure, he's going to have to throw his hands. He's going to have to go, because Dillian will roll the dice early. He sees this as a huge opportunity as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear the bells behind us in central London here. We're at the Cafe Royal at the moment. But I think this is the fight. As I agree with Spencer, White and Joshua is the fight with the biggest jeopardy in it. And, you know, Anthony Joshua's taking this fight, remember, with the promise of $60 million to fight Deontay Wilder in Saudi Arabia. So you have to applaud him. In fact, you know, in some ways, I think what happens with the criticism of Anthony Joshua, we all say he changed the landscape with Tyson Fury of boxing in this country. There's no question about it. But also, our expectation levels are so high for him the whole time. And he had 2 difficult years against Alexander Usyk. He was improved in the second fight. This is his third phase of his career, the most important phase in my view,
Gareth,
where he's regathering himself.
But Gareth, you wouldn't be doing your job, we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't sort of criticise the fact that he lost to Ruiz, he lost to Usyk. You wouldn't give him praise for praise sakes. At the end of the day, he has to be able to take the criticism when it comes, bearing in mind that at the time he was hoping and expecting to be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Absolutely right. And look, I think we're fair about him. And I do think we're fair. He gets a lot of coverage on the station. I mean, boxing is part of the lifeblood of talkSPORT now anyway. We do cover everything in forensic detail. And look, he's got a massive opportunity to right a lot of wrongs in the next 2 years. When we saw him on Monday, he's still a great student of the game. He still wants to improve. His appetite for it all is there. But having said that, and as Spencer's alluded to, if he loses against White, it's difficult to see how he climbs that ladder again.
Absolutely. Listen, what this is all about is with Anthony Joshua is about believing in his own ability, believing in his own confidence, and showing us that he's still got that fire in his belly, the one that took him to the world heavyweight titles, that classic that he had with Klitschko at Wembley where he picked himself off the floor, bit down on his gum shield and threw his hands. We haven't seen that in recent times. You know, we didn't see it in the Alexander Usyk one. You felt that if he had just picked up that tempo a little bit more and took it to Usyk a little bit more, then things could have been different. But I think that's what we were referring to, and Joshua maybe have taken that slightly the wrong way, because I think there's been opinions as well whether Joshua is maybe his best days are behind him. And I said to him, listen, I know they're not, mate. Go out there and prove it, because until you prove it, you're always going to have that criticism. That's what happens when you're at the top of your game in boxing. Go through the history of it. Muhammad Ali got criticism. Joe Frazier got criticism. You know, Lennox Lewis got criticism. Everyone does. And if you're getting criticised, means you're doing something right.
Look, with 100 million quid in the bank, he's still showing an appetite for the sport. He doesn't need to do this now. He wants to do it. And I think that's the important factor here.
Does the fact he's even making these comments, though, Gareth, the fact he's been stung by what he perceived as criticism, does that maybe give us a little glimpse into his mindset at this moment in time, and that maybe actually the truth of the matter is that his confidence has been affected?
No, I think he enjoys the criticism deep down. I think he uses it. I think it was good-natured as well. I think a lot's being made of it, but he was laughing as he said it as well to you, Spence. You know him very well.
Listen, he said it's all about opinion. What you got to remember about Anthony Joshua, and I do know him very well, is he's like a sponge. He absorbs everything. He listens to everything. That's why he's been jumping around with trainers, feeling that he can learn little bits here and there and everywhere. And now he's settled with Derek James out in Dallas, which shows you his appetite, by the way, because he stripped it down raw out there. He's living in basics, he's not doing anything.
He's in prison,
yeah,
he's
absolutely.
in prison, basically.
So he stripped it down, and he shows you that he's still got that appetite there, and he feels with Derek now installing that confidence that's maybe been missing from him, that he's going to turn things around. And I said to him, listen, just go out there and prove it. We will find out on August the 12th, because Dillian White will bring it to him. They've got history, these guys. Don't particularly like each other.
No, don't. That fight is live on talkSPORT, 12th of August. Don't worry about that.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.